Hi all, today we're going to be going through the guitar parts to Radiohead's Weird Fishes Arpeggi. It's the fourth track off their 2007 album In Rainbows. So I'll start by saying that I'm going to save my geeking out about this song till the end of the video, but let's jump right into the guitar parts. I've listened to this song so many times, and I watched clips from In Rainbows live from the basement, and also the band playing this song on Jules Holland back in '07 or '08 after the album came out. So I'm pretty confident that what I'm going to show you is fairly close to accurate. If you're in a two guitar band, you could definitely pull off this song with what I'm about to show you. It's definitely a simple song at its core, but there's lots of different guitar layers, so let's jump right into that. Again, this version will get you pretty close. So I'm going to divide the song up into sections. So we'll start with section A, which covers really more than half of the song. It goes till about 2.5 or 3 minutes into it. It's that really hypnotic, repeating riff, which really, for the most part, Ed is playing. So Ed is playing this. So that's what Ed's doing. The first shape is an E minor 7, and this goes for the entire, really this first section of the song. This is the same chord progression for the entire section A. So it's E minor 7 to F sharp minor 7 to A, this voicing of A, to a G major 7. So how those shapes are played are 7th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the D string, and then 7th fret on the G string. That's your E minor 7. That's the opening chord. Before I go any further, actually, most of this song you're using your fingers. I think to get close to the tone and the feel of the song, you pretty much have to do it finger style. So an important note there. And also I'll put it in the description too, but I'm using my neck pickup here on my 2013 Fender American Standard Strat. I rolled down the tone a little bit, and it's just going through a clean amp. You can get really close to the tone if you do something like that. So now jumping back into the song. So you start with this E minor 7 shape. Move it up 2 frets, same shape. That's your F sharp minor 7. The A shape is, there's the root at the 12th fret on the A string, 11th fret D, 14th fret G. Then you go down to your G major 7, which is 10th fret A, 9th fret D, 11th fret G. So it's those same 4 chords over and over again. That's what Ed is playing, and that's probably the most prominent guitar in the mix, the one that you hear the most frequently. So those are the shapes. The picking, you're starting on the highest note and going up to the top and back down. That's it. I mean, I'm using my middle finger, my index finger, my thumb to play that bass note on top. I mean, that's the picking pattern for those entire 2.5 or 3 minutes. The only thing that Ed does, he plays the riff once, he plays it again, and when he plays it again, when he goes up here to the A, he does a little variation. He goes, so he goes like normal, 14th fret on the G string. So that is 12th fret A, 11th fret D string, and the 12th fret of the G string. He descends down, 12th fret. Now you have to kind of do a little mini bar here with your index finger. That is the 11th fret on the G string. And then you go down to the G major 7. So one more time, it's Okay, so that's all of Ed's parts for those 2.5 or 3 minutes, the first 2.5 or 3 minutes of the song, over and over again, over and over. That's it. So Jonny comes in, I think 20 something seconds into the song. You can hear him on the, I want to say it's the left channel, the left ear of the song. So he comes in with the, at the end of, when Ed's playing that last chord of the progression, the G major 7, Jonny comes in with the G major 7 of his own. He's playing it like this. That's 7th fret on the G string, 8th fret on the B, and leave that open high E open. That's redundant, but high E open. So, so that's the picking pattern that Jonny's playing. It's a little bit different. It's kind of a, so you're going back and forth on the G string and the B string. That's how I play it. It's kind of hard to make out in the mix, but you can definitely hear it's this chord. So it's a little bit slower. Right? Okay, so now that he's played that chord, it goes back to the top of the progression. So Jonny jumps right in with Ed when Ed's playing. He plays this. Okay, so it's that same picking pattern that I used in the G major 7, but now we have, that's open G, 3rd fret B, open high E. Then next, that's the E minor 7 shape that Jonny's playing. The F sharp minor 7 shape that Jonny's playing, it sounds like this. It's just that same shape actually moved up 2 frets, just like Ed's playing, but just again in a different spot on the neck. So he's using this shape. It's 2nd fret G string, 5th fret B, 2nd fret high E. So he goes, right, and up to the A chord that, right, Ed's playing this, Jonny's going, it's the top of just an A major bar. So it's 5th fret G, 5th fret B, 5th fret high E. Right? Okay, and then the last chord, which I already showed you, the chord he came in on. He came in on that 4th chord of the progression before, right? So he comes in on that chord after that A, to continue the progression to G major 7. Okay, so that is the majority of section A. There's a little variation that comes in later. Jonny is playing this, at least live, in different spots all around the neck all the time. What I just showed you for Jonny's part will get you pretty close to what's on the recording. But he definitely does this. You can hear it, particularly in live versions, actually. He goes up to here. He plays the E minor 7, the first chord of the progression, like this, when Thom Yorke starts singing the lyric, "Turn Me On to Phantoms." You can really hear it there. He plays it like this. So let's go over those shapes really quick. Again, it's the same 4 chords, just played in a different position on the neck. So you have 9th fret G, 8th fret B, 7th fret high E. It's the top of an E minor chord, and then you move that up. Again, the same thing. You move it up a whole step, 2 frets. So it's 11th fret G, 10th fret B, 9th fret high E. The next shape is the A, which is the D shape up here. The root right there at the 10th fret of the B string, 9th fret G, 9th fret high E, and then the last shape is your G major 7, which I can't really tell if this is what he's playing. It sounds like it, so and it just makes sense. The shape is right there. So I play it like this. It's 11th fret G, 12th fret B, 10th fret high E. So that is all the guitar parts to section A. The band, it builds up to that point, this is my chance, that lyric, it builds up to that, and the band just leaves. The band leaves the recording, and that's where section B starts. So one final note about section A. Thom comes in with a pick, actually. He's not doing a finger style. As far as I can tell, he starts playing with a pick. Sometimes he does a finger style, actually. But you get the point. He comes in and starts doubling Ed's part somewhere around the second or third verse. But otherwise, that is all the guitar parts for section A. So now we move into section B, which is the middle section or the bridge. It's the shortest section of the song. It goes to this shape. Well, actually, I'll play it first. Okay, so he comes in on this chord. I apologize for a little bit of sloppy playing there. I'm more focused on teaching it than playing right now. So, not that it's by any means sloppy, but we're starting with the 9th fret here on the low E. I don't know, I don't think Colin's playing it, but you can definitely hear that bass note in there. So I play it like this, just, it sounds really full and nice. So 9th fret on the, did I say high E? I meant low E. 9th fret of the low E, 7th fret of the D string, 9th fret of the G. Now, it's a tough shape to play. What he does is, you could probably honestly get rid of that bass note after you first play it, because what he's doing is actually, it's really just these 3 notes are what's emphasized. So it's kind of an A shape, an A chord, right? It's the 7th fret, again, 7th fret D, 9th fret G, 8th fret B, and he goes down. So make a little bit of a bar, take that 7th fret, or 8th fret B, I'm sorry, off to get to the 7th fret of the B. And now to a B minor shape, which he plays this thumb over the bass note there, the 7th fret of the low E, 9th fret of the D, and there's the G string at the 7th fret. You can also hear the B string at the 7th fret too. Live, he does this. He adds his 9th fret to the G string and back off. So he plays that, what I just played, twice. It's like an A shape to a B minor 7. He does that twice, and correction on what I said earlier, he's most likely playing that with his fingers. It's pretty hard to play that actually with the pick, just to hit those notes and correctly do. And it's played very softly too, which makes me think that it's also finger style. So he plays that progression twice. Then lastly, he does this kind of A6, or the top of a D major 7 chord, you can think of it as, when he says weird fishes, right? He's going. So that is the top of D major 7 chord, 7th fret D, 6th fret G, 7th fret B. Weird fishes, right? So he goes to this G major 7 kind of shape at the very end of this bridge section B. Again, that's the E major 7 to a G major 7. The G major 7 is chorded like this: 5th fret D string, 7th fret G, 7th fret B. So you're just playing on both those chords, those 3 notes on the D, G, and B strings. So that is section B, the middle section, the bridge, whatever you want to call it. Now, here's where it kind of gets crazy. I'm going to grab a pick here for this part. So the band comes back in, particularly Phil and Colin are very prominent in the mix. And by the way, Colin's bass work and Phil's drumming on this track are also incredible. The guitar work is amazing, how all the layers come together. But Phil and Colin do a great job of really driving this song. So anyway, what Thom is doing here, the notes, well, I'll go over the chord progression that plays throughout this section C or outro section. It goes from like a B minor shape up to a C, back down to a B minor, to like an A shape, to a G major 7. So that is the chord progression that just keeps repeating and repeating till the end of the song. What Thom Yorke is doing, he's kind of doubling Colin's parts. Live, he definitely does this. I'm not so much sure on the recording, because it might just be Colin on the recording, but live he's doing this. He's going kind of like while the band's coming in, right? Okay, so you can rewind that and watch it. That's kind of just the bass line. I like to kind of play it when it's building up because there's really not many other guitar parts in that section where Phil is jamming out on drums and Colin's playing that bass line. So it really is just based around that B minor shape. So just make sure those slides are really clean in there to make it sound right. So what happens next is the one part of this song that I still really don't know what's going on. I think there's multiple guitar tracks in there. I think Jonny is he's using a looper pedal for sure in a live setting, but he's ultimately, how I play it, just jamming along in my bedroom style, is this. Just a chiming sort of loop kind of sound. It's like an E octave I'm playing up here at the 7th fret of the G string, 12th fret of the high E. He plays it live differently every time. I really, like I said, I can't figure out what he's playing. There's too much noise and the band, there's so much going on that you can't really tell he's playing. He might be up here playing or maybe even like an A shape up here. It's too tough to figure out, but really that's a cool spot to jam and come up with your own kind of loops in that spot like he does in a live setting. So again, I'm not really sure what's happening there, so I usually just end up playing the B minor C, B minor A, G major 7 progression, and with the bass parts and stuff like that, I usually just kind of jam with that. So what happens next is, again, that chord progression just keeps repeating, so I've already went over that. It might be Ed. I'm not really sure. Ed's doing more of the, like he usually does, he's really the third guitar player in the sense that he adds the depth and texture to the band more than playing the core key guitar parts. So at this point in the song, he's just kind of playing probably with like delay and things like that. So this might be Ed, but it also might be Jonny after his loop is over, because Thom's definitely playing Colin's bass parts in the chords. So somebody is playing this on guitar on the recording. So they're playing the B minor like this. And if you listen to the recording, it sounds a lot like that. Like even those voicings sound very accurate to me. So it's a B minor shape up here. It's the top of a B minor bar chord. It's 2nd fret high E, 3rd fret B, 4th fret G. The next chord is just a C major, 3rd fret high E, 5th fret B, 5th fret G, back down to the B minor, and then you go to the A6, or kind of like a D major 7 chord. It's just bar across the G, B, and high E strings at the 2nd fret, and then the last chord of the progression is a G major 7, which they play like this. It's just the open G and B strings and the 2nd fret on the high E. So again, it's B minor C, B minor A, G major 7, till the end of the song. So I think I covered all the parts. I'll leave any comments or feedback if you'd like. I appreciate the support. So now my thoughts on this song. So when I first heard it, I actually wasn't impressed by this one. I listened to it in Rainbows, probably, well, after listening to the Bends and OK Computer, for sure. And probably also even after listening to, some of the stuff off of Hail the Thief and some of the other Radiohead albums. And I was immediately struck by, in Rainbows, the album, I was struck by the warmth of the band and the sound of it. I've always said it's Radiohead's most romantic album from a band that's not really romantic at all. And I think this song is no exception. It's beautiful. It's really something that's dreamlike, and it's absolutely one of my all-time favorite songs by any band, certainly Radiohead, but certainly by any band in general. And I think this song is so Radiohead in that every member of the band adds something incredibly unique and important to this song. They're 5 just extremely talented people. But anyway, when I first listened in Rainbows, the songs that kind of stuck out to me were actually Body Snatchers, All I Need, and probably House of Cards, believe it or not. And it took me a long time to kind of appreciate and maybe come to understand Weird Fish's Arpeggi. But it clicked one day, and it's never been the same since it clicked. It's just, it just was an instant favorite overnight. And for a long time, I liked Reckoner, actually, before I liked this song. And I thought Reckoner was the best song on the album. And I think Reckoner's probably the second best song on the album now. I still think it's excellent. But this song is just something else. It takes me away. It takes me to another world. It reminds me a little bit of Pink Floyd at times, but it's so kind of artsy and avant-garde also, in the same sense that it sounds like nothing I've ever heard, and the song structure is just so unusual. It's not a pop song or anything, certainly. It doesn't resemble one. So I've always been taken aback by just the pure artistry of Radiohead in general, but this song in particular. So in Rainbows became my favorite Radiohead album, largely because of this song, and I also really enjoy the songs Nude, Jigsaw, and Reckoner in particular. I think Weird Fishes and those 3 songs are really highlights of Radiohead's entire discography. And this is why I recommend In Rainbows to a lot of people. When they're first listening to Radiohead, I'd probably listen to OK Computer first, but In Rainbows is very accessible, because some of Radiohead stuff is not accessible. But this is actually, again, an incredibly warm and inviting album, and this song really sums up the feel and the emotions of the entire album. I think are kind of summarized within this song. It's depressing, like Radiohead, but also very hopeful, and it's always been a magical song to me, and I always really enjoy playing it, and that's why I've trying to figure out all these guitar parts, and I did to the best of my ability. So again, I appreciate your feedback. Let me know what you think about this song. Also, just my little guitar research I've done here as well. Give me feedback on anything, or let's talk about Radiohead, because that's one of my favorite things to talk about. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it.